No, this was drama with stakes, tension with teeth, and on this particular Sunday evening, it was the Los Angeles Dodgers who stepped onto the field not just to play, but to perform. Tony Gonsolin, a man often flying under the radar, took the mound like a character stepping into the frame with quiet authority. No dramatic flair, no theatrics, just focus, just fire. Every pitch he threw sliced through the thick desert air like a sharpened blade, 5 scoreless innings that felt less like work and more like poetry in motion. Gonsolin wasn't overpowering, he was strategic, like a chess grandmaster moving with patience, precision, and a plan. He pitched with purpose, with calm in his eyes and confidence in his delivery, and by the time he exited the game, the script was already shifting in favor of the Dodgers. But Gonsolin didn't work alone. Every hero needs a co-star, and Freddie Freeman delivered a performance worthy of a standing ovation. It wasn't just that he went for 4, it was how he did it. Each swing was a statement, each hit a moment captured in time, as though the bat itself understood the gravity of what was happening. And then came the home run, a towering blast that didn't just clear the fence, it lifted the energy of the entire team. It soared into the night like a flare shot from a battleship, signaling that the Dodgers had come not just to compete, but to dominate. And just when you thought the script couldn't get tighter, couldn't get cleaner, Mookie Betts stepped into the scene like the returning legend, swinging with that signature swagger, connecting with power that echoed like thunder. His homer was less about the run on the board and more about the warning it carried, that when Betts and Freeman are both locked in, there's little hope for anyone standing in their way. This wasn't a team scratching out a win, they were dismantling a challenge, brick by brick, at bat by at bat. With 18 hits on the night, it wasn't a slugfest, it was an exhibition, a lesson in how to methodically wear down a team, take their breath, and leave them with nothing but the realization that they'd just been outclassed. And in the backdrop of this perfect storm, San Diego's stumble in Colorado painted the full picture, because while the Padres fell, the Dodgers rose, reclaiming the division lead with a sense of inevitability that felt almost cinematic. This is what great teams do, they adapt, they respond, and when the moment calls for it, they rise. But let's rewind just a little. The 4-game series with Arizona wasn't all smooth sailing. The Diamondbacks had taken their shots, made the Dodgers uncomfortable, and proved that they too were hungry. That's what made this final game matter so much, not just to win, but to respond. The Dodgers could have coasted, could have mailed it in after a couple of rough outings, but instead, they showed up with intensity, with grit, with the kind of edge that separates the good from the elite. From the dugout you could sense it. This wasn't just about playing well, it was about making a statement. You could see it in the way players high-fived a little harder, laughed a little louder, and locked in a little deeper. Even when Arizona broke through for a run, it didn't change the story, it just added contrast to the masterpiece the Dodgers were painting. And with every pitch, every swing, every perfectly executed defensive play, that masterpiece came closer to completion. The bullpen followed Gonsolin's lead like a seasoned ensemble cast, each reliever stepping in, playing their role, and preserving the balance of the narrative without skipping a beat. There was rhythm to it, elegance even, and when the final out was recorded, it didn't feel like a celebration, it felt like a resolution. A final chord to a song that had been building all night. Freddie Freeman walked off the field not just as a star of the game, but as a symbol of consistency, of leadership, of what it means to set the tone for an entire roster. Gonsolin's outing may not make the flashy highlight reels, but within the clubhouse, within the heartbeat of this team, it carried weight. And Mookie? He reminded everyone watching why he's one of the most electrifying players in the sport. But perhaps the most impressive thing was that it didn't feel like a one-off, it felt sustainable. The Dodgers weren't running on adrenaline, they were operating on execution. Every batter had a plan. Every pitch had intent. Every inning had energy. And that's what makes this team so terrifying when they're at full throttle. They don't just beat you, they dismantle you with discipline. And now, as they fly back to Los Angeles with momentum in their pocket and first place once again beside their name, the rest of the league has to take notice. Because this wasn't just a win in the standings, it was a chapter in the story of a team that refuses to be counted out, a team that knows how to respond when it matters most. And as October inches closer, nights like this become more than just memories, they become fuel. Fuel for the grind ahead, for the rivalries that await, for the postseason that looms like a final act waiting to be written. And you better believe the Dodgers have their pens ready. They've written this story before. They know how it ends. And if this game was any indication, they're ready to do it again, scene by scene, pitch by pitch, win by win. Because for this team, it's never just about one night. It's about legacy. And legacy, just like baseball, is built one unforgettable performance at a time. It was a night that felt more like a statement than just another regular season game, a reminder that when the Los Angeles Dodgers click into gear, they're not just playing baseball, they're orchestrating dominance. Picture this: the Arizona desert, the roof closed at Chase Field, fans filing in with a quiet optimism, hoping maybe their Diamondbacks could chip away at the momentum of a division rival. But then came the sound of leather popping in the mitt, of bats cracking with precision, of cleats cutting through the base paths like blades on ice. Tony Gonsolin, not always the flashiest name in the Dodgers rotation but undeniably effective, took the mound like a man on a mission. 5 scoreless innings later, he walked off having silenced Arizona's lineup with surgical precision, mixing pitches, working corners, and never letting the moment grow too big. Gonsolin didn't just pitch, he dictated. And while the Diamondbacks tried to find a pulse offensively, the Dodgers lineup came alive like a well-rehearsed symphony, led by none other than Freddie Freeman, who turned in a performance that reminded everyone why he's one of the most consistently dangerous hitters in the game. For 4, a home run that sailed deep into the Arizona night, line drives that barely had time to rise before they shot into the outfield. Freeman's bat was more than hot, it was untouchable. And as if that wasn't enough, Mookie Betts decided to throw his hat into the ring, launching a bomb of his own that sent Dodgers fans in the crowd into a frenzy. 18 hits in total, a relentless offensive assault that wasn't just about the long ball but about stringing together quality at bats, wearing down pitches, and showing what it looks like when talent meets focus. This was the kind of game that reminded you why the Dodgers have been a perennial powerhouse, why even when they lose a few games, they always seem to find their rhythm again. And rhythm is exactly what this was. It wasn't chaos or luck, it was calculated, it was clinical, it was baseball at its finest. And let's not overlook the timing. With San Diego stumbling in Colorado, the Dodgers' win didn't just pad the win column, it reclaimed the top spot in the National League West. One game might seem like a small margin, but in a division this competitive, every inch matters. And what made this victory even sweeter was the way it capped off a hard-fought-for-game series. Arizona had punched back earlier, taking a couple of games and making things uncomfortable, but Los Angeles refused to leave town on a sour note. They came out with purpose, like a team that knew what was on the line. It wasn't just about beating Arizona, it was about resetting the tone, about reminding the rest of the league that the Dodgers are never down for long. You could see it in the dugout, players laughing, coaches locked in, a vibe that was equal parts business and brotherhood. Even when Arizona tried to scratch out a run, eventually getting on the board, it felt more like a consolation than a threat. The Dodgers had built a wall too high, a lead too wide, and a game plan too perfect to be derailed by a late-game rally. And Gonsolin? He set the table beautifully, handing it over to the bullpen with the kind of trust that only comes when everyone is pulling in the same direction. There were no wasted pitches, no unnecessary risks, just efficient, intelligent pitching that neutralized hitters and allowed the offense to shine. It's not always the flashiest outing that makes the biggest impact, and Gonsolin's 5 shutout innings were exactly what the Dodgers needed. Then there's Freeman. What do you even say about a guy who goes for 4 with a homer and looks like he could have kept hitting all night? His swing was balanced, his timing impeccable, and his ability to hit to all fields keeps pitchers honest in a way few others can. Every time he stepped in the box, you felt something was going to happen, and more often than not, it did. Combine that with Betts doing Betts things, and you have a duo that can carry a lineup on any given night. But this wasn't just a 2-man show. From top to bottom, the Dodgers lineup was alive, putting pressure on Arizona from the first inning and never letting up. Singles turned into doubles, routine plays turned into close calls, and you could feel the Diamondbacks' defense wearing down under the weight of it all.